the world was rapidly changing. People my age were seeing the introduction of the internet, the introduction of interconnectivity. Things were traveling so much quicker than our parents and the teachers who were trying to help raise us. So we'd find ourselves without like a leader, someone who knew the way through things like mental health, dyslexia, struggles, stuff like that. My friends would be experiencing certain like mental health needs that, looking back on it, were not being met very well or very compassionately, and really spilled over into affecting my own life and my own understanding of the world and how we take care of each other and our kids.
You recognized there were mental health concerns, and it didn't seem like the systems in place were adequately supporting some of your friends.
Definitely.
There's a lot of misinformed or uninformed people, even tasked with that work, who don't necessarily know how to get it done because it's not getting done.
Definitely.
Right? Both with regards to the literacy piece and then also the mental health piece,
Yeah.
right?
I kind of see the millennial generation as like the beginning of this new era of, humanity, society, the tools that we use. And so I kind of found out that, hey, if you can have a good message, if you can have a close network of people who can communicate and work hard, you can actually start to build little, either nonprofits or community groups that can actually enact real change for, a smaller group of people than, say, like the entire educational system, but still like make meaningful change, one step at a time. So there's so much in life that's out of our control, but that shouldn't make us not want to try to help and fix things. And I had found that with enough camaraderie, we can, at least introduce ways to bring out change.
Welcome to Mental Health Mirage, a Raising Moxie podcast, where we speak with educational leaders, parents, physicians, and others who want to reform society's approach to kids. I'm Dr. Karin Hodges. I'm CEO and founder of Raising Moxie. I am meeting with John Oliver.
Like, my parents were not college educated. A lot of my peers' parents were not college educated, but then some of my best friends had parents who were PhDs,
right.
Very successful in various like burgeoning fields. So you get this like weird mix of very wealthy white collar kids, and then kind of like more working class blue collar kids who have like less of an educated background. So those people are all commingling. Teachers are trying to, I guess, navigate that. Parents have no idea what to do when mental health crises would occur, or how to like even help their own children, let alone their children's friends. There is a gap in understanding how to help an adolescent or even younger person navigate challenges, especially like literacy and learning challenges and mental health challenges. There was a gap in the education around it and also like the compassion around it. There was a lot of infrastructure built around, okay, so there's folks who need special attention or maybe need to learn things a little differently, but it was so inadequate.
From the time that kids are younger, when they don't get those proper foundational needs. We think about that a lot in my world. And then that just becomes exacerbated.
Eventually, when you leave the younger grades and into high school, especially upperclassmen, you enter this funnel of, okay, where are you going to college? Both your guidance counselors and everybody, they want you to go. There's obviously a reason that they're trying to influence you to do that, whether or not it's right for you. So, there's all this talk of helping individuals and students and meeting them where they're at into this funnel of let's get you off to college, and it's kind of like a factory.
There's so much focus on, okay, let's just get you ready to be packaged and sent out however you are.
There's a lot of trappings around that, and things are celebrated and everything's positive and you can win awards and blah 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 and this and that. But at the end of the day, it does very much feel, again, looking back on things, you hit this benchmark, you hit this benchmark, you hit this benchmark, great, you're ready to graduate, great, let's get you off to a school.
Where's the humanity in it, right?
Yeah, right.
Like, where's the humanity?
Like the authentic humanity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because there is sort of a posturing about humanity, but where's like the actual the pausing, the time, the figuring things out,
the hearing people where they're at.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
When I was going to middle school, I had a friend suffering. This person and myself are friends to this day, very good friends to this day. It was like we had a specialist consultant come in and talk with me and this person. The entire school faculty seemed to be involved. Do I think this person like posed a real like threat to my life? No, I don't. But that's how it was treated,
right.
And it's scared. It just scared me. I was 13 years old at the time. It deeply impacted me. I had no idea what to think.
Very few people actually know, in my experience, the mechanisms of change in mental health.
Yeah.
Very few people seem to know how to get ahead of or prevent things. There's almost always other stuff, other reasons why someone, even when there's a predisposition, even when they meet diagnostic criteria, which is basically just like a bunch of symptoms, right? Oftentimes there's other reasons. And so even if a person does have some form of suffering, even down the road, people could discover, oh, turns out they have a sleep disorder. Yep. Oh, turns out, they've got some, brain-based inflammation.
No, but you'll like to know this, that this person spent time at McLean's Hospital, went through the whole gamut of lithium, antidepressants, and then like Vyvanse, Concerta, anxiolytics. He went from like a normal-sized kid to, I think he was almost 300 pounds by the time he was 16 because of all the medications.
This is it.
At some point, he decided, and I don't know exactly what it was that made him decide this. This is crazy. I'm not doing this anymore. Moved out of his parents' house at 17 years old. Stopped taking all of these medications. Dropped out of high school. Got his GED. Got a job. Worked various jobs. Lost a ton of weight. Has not been on prescription medications since. So I truly believe that the way we're treating these things, or at least did back then, it was like just tossing anything you could into the symptoms.
John, this is like why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I've had patients that I saw when I was like in my internship, say, that reached out to me many years later just to say hello.
Yeah.
And, this one individual I'm thinking about, it's kind of devastating when you think about it. Like, I remember this young person. They're older. They're probably your age now, And I remember this person healthy. Yeah. There were some issues, but they were, in my opinion, while there were reasons that they were getting the care they were getting, what happened was years later, they still had trouble with sleep.
Yeah.
It seemed as though they had been medicated so strongly for so long that I believe it did have deep impact on the quality of their life. Yeah. And it was so painful to realize it's like that the system failed this individual so greatly. I've also had patients that I had to, unfortunately, because of a number of reasons, help get them into a hospital setting. And then they put on, I had somebody put on really strong medications by a prescriber and then gain lots and lots of weight.
Yeah.
And in the hospital. And so hospitals, we all know like hospitalization is not really a way towards health. It's really to keep someone contained.
Yes.
But part of the problem is people come out of the hospitals, they haven't been taught to thrive, and they often haven't been given the ingredients to thrive. Get them to thriving.
Yeah.
Get them to a better quality of life.
Yeah.
Chris Palmer wrote the book Brain Energy, and that book talks a lot about how some of these medications actually, hinder metabolic, mitochondrial health, things like that, because of these things like weight gain. You've got a really dear friend who has since passed, and I want to talk about thinking about the way the neglect occurs. I think you're thinking about educational neglect, perhaps in part in this situation.
Yeah.
Maybe tell me about your friend.
Yeah. So he's 2 years younger than me, lived close to me. We grew up together. I literally knew him since he was basically born. He had a brother who's my age. He was always a quieter kid growing up, and I'm talking about like really young. Quieter kid. He was a little bit, he was funny. He was possibly, we thought of him as like maybe a little slow on the uptake. Then again, we were still 2 years older, boys. Never really has a lot of confidence. At school, Really doesn't like school, which was a little bit different from me and his brother, who were more like into academics and stuff like that, even from a younger age. He was kind of a bigger dude, and very shy. Never diagnosed with anything. Never really, from what I understand, never really like looked at too deeply by any of his educators or teachers or even his parents, in terms of like what he might be lacking or needing.
This happens, Yeah. I mean, people, what they do is they just look at the surface, right? Yeah. So if a child is not performing well or learning or maturing or growing in certain ways, there's a tendency to just sort of say, oh, we'll just accept them as they are.
Correct.
Like, we'll just like love them as they are because this is all they're capable of. Rather than like getting curious, right? So like for the educators, for the educational system, and, even for the mental health professionals in the system, if somebody is sort of, more, as you described, kind of retreating or a little bit more shy or a little struggling, what's the root cause?
Yeah.
Sure, some people are more, reticent or whatever.
Yeah, just disposition or whatever.
Right. But I think that kind of, instead of just sort of saying, oh, that's just...
Yeah, right. And that was kind of the attitude.
Yeah.
And I think the teachers had that too. And then, so something again, this is pre any sort of diagnosis. As soon as he enters, in middle school, you were offered electives. He chose to take a class called music composition, which I remember because I had taken 2 years before. Music is going to be sort of a theme throughout this. Yeah. But something really kind of magical happened. We used this software. It was very simple music composition software called MIDI or MIDI Pro, MIDI, where you could literally just go on your computer screen, move notes up and down, a staff, and make songs. And like people liked it. It was very fun. It's almost like a game. But we would go over to their house. We'd go in there and make like little melodies, like little stupid things. But he would be making like real fully fleshed out songs by himself, no friends over, just like making songs. And they were like really good songs. We were like, oh, but he seems to be like really good at this. What the heck? He like downloaded, because this was a school program that he found and downloaded on his parents' computer and just like started using it all the time. Something was happening. We were like, wow, he's really, really talented at this. At the same time, he was taking up trombone. He was doing jazz band stuff. So music and him just clicked. He was naturally gifted. It took him a little bit longer. I think a lot of times, especially back then, or at least what I remember, the talk is like, if you're not practicing an instrument by the time you're 5 years old, you'll never be amazing at it. Right. But he started to realize, wait a second, I'm really good at music. I'm going to pick up the trombone. I'm going to get a guitar. I'm going to teach myself all this stuff. So this was, when he's about 13. By the time he's 15 years old, he's in the jazz band at the high school, very competitive group. He is a guitar player. He's a bass player. He's like understanding music in like such a fast level. So you see this person go from knowing nothing about music and having no support around it to being very proficient all on his own in a very short amount of time.
Wow.
So at that point, we all realized like, oh, this person has
more capability.
More capability, has a gift. He lost a ton of weight, got a ton of confidence, became very popular in his class. Like almost, it feels like overnight, but over like the course of a couple of years. At the same time, comes to find out, he's dyslexic. I don't think anyone even looked into this until he was about 14 years old.
What can happen when someone has dyslexia is, and I can speak from experience too, is there's a part of you that knows that you're capable of something.
Yeah.
There's a part of you that knows that you understand things, that you can think.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
That you can make sense of things, that you can perceive your world. And think in terms of like even like the abstract, even if the words don't always come out perfectly, right?
Yeah.
And also, it's a language-based learning disability. So some of us have, also some language pieces. So for me, for example, part of the reason why I'm a little bit more verbose is because I struggle sometimes to in a more linear, concise way, find my words. But certainly for me, that's a sign of my dyslexia. So I'm not linear. We tend to be more creative.
Yeah.
We tend to be more abstract, like great abstract thought. A lot of us, not all.
Yeah.
But the language piece is a big piece. So what happens is maybe we're having a hard time to present in front of the class. maybe we're having a hard time, some of us, to find our specific words. And certainly we're having a hard time with reading and writing often.
Yeah.
So there's writing and reading. Usually this whole literacy piece includes all these things. And dyslexia specifically is reading disorder, but there's so much more attached to it. A lot of us, if we read out loud, it can help because there's a part of our brain that processes auditory information that is sometimes larger. I don't know if that develops as a result of the dyslexia or if that's something we're born with, but there's also some signs of that as well.
Yeah.
So there's all these different, and then a lot of people I think are musical, and also music is a language.
Yes.
So like a lot of people think about how music as well can be used to support literacy actually, and there's more thought about that in our communities, in the literacy community.
It was as if he had all of this in himself that he wanted to express since the day he was born, and finally had a way for it to come out.
I find that the kids that we identify when they're really young, sometimes it's still a struggle to get them their needs because the schools are not designed very well for meeting the needs of kids with dyslexia often. However, at least they know this. And I'm thinking about those early years, all those years, because what I see is that some people, they get the identification early, so at least you're not walking around like, what is wrong with me?
Yes.
And it's not about something being wrong necessarily, it's just understanding, oh, society isn't built for my brain. At least knowing that can be huge. Someone saying, you're not unintelligent, actually, especially, there's a lot of people who are not unintelligent. They think they are unintelligent. Or they are quite intelligent, and it creates dissonance. So the dissonance is, I feel like I should be able to do better at this, but I keep falling in this hole. And then what's worse is that people get blamed or they get sort of stereotyped. People sort of looked at him like, well, that's just who he is. And there was more to him, it seems, and that came out later.
Dismissive. Terrible for identity.
So, so all those years, and this is what I see sometimes 14, 15, 16, like if I pick someone up and try to get them a neuropsych and it doesn't happen until they're like 15, it is not uncommon that by that time they've already started down a path.
I'm just conjecturing, and I did not prepare by talking to his teachers or his parents or anything about this. But like you say, because he had, no intervention essentially growing up, and yes, he did find himself in something he was good at eventually in his teen years. You're already building, you see the world and you see everybody and you see people are reading and they're understanding things, and I keep falling into this hole, like you say. I just keep falling into this hole. And what does that do? Sure, no one's saying to you society isn't set up for people, who struggle in the same way you do.
Or even who think.
Or who think of the way you do.
In the same way you do, yeah.
But what happens is if you have to realize that on your own, you're going to kind of get there's an anger that's going to start growing. You're going to say, why, this isn't fair.
It's not fair.
And no matter how popular or how good things are, there's always going to be that sense of aloneness.
I don't know. Did you read my story yet? No. So let me tell you this.
Tell me your story.
Okay, I'm going to tell you just quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, just so you know, I understand, right? I was most absent in the yearbook for high school.
You did mention that, yeah.
I had a 2-point-something, I think it was a low 2-point-something GPA in high school.
Right. Strange for a PhD.
I know, it's ID, but same doctoral level instructor at MIT. I know, yeah. I lived homeless essentially for about 6 months of my life. I gave up on society. I did. Yeah. I gave up on society. I decided that it wasn't built for me. I decided that the world wasn't interested in me. Yeah. I decided that when I was 19. Yeah. Brutal. 19. Yeah, 19, 20. And so I do understand that. And even though I was identified, I think what I did have is that I wasn't fully identified when I was 5, but I was tested when I was 5. Mm-hmm. And when you get around to reading my story, there were a lot of problems. My mom, one thing that she did do well was that she, and it wasn't the only thing, but there were a lot of problems. And one thing that she did well, I remember trying to learn to read and saying, I'm so stupid. Yeah. And crying, and her saying, you're not stupid, you just learn differently.
That's amazing. Yeah, you need that.
And it's like, that helped me because even though I didn't have a full confirmation of the diagnosis, because I was also bright and I would get there, they didn't diagnose me. But those years, even though I didn't get what I needed fully, and I think I probably only partially remediated, honestly.
Yeah.
I still had that idea that maybe I am bright.
Yeah.
Maybe I am capable of something. And I think it was that. And you kind of have a sense of yourself as being capable in some ways too.
Yes.
So it's this tension. And so I think for me what happened was that did plant a seed. And so then much later, I wasn't diagnosed until I was already like near the end of UCLA actually.
Wow.
And so it was a lot of suffering that's gone on because there's a lot of extra work.
Yeah.
A lot of lost vacations, a lot of holidays that I work through, a lot of strain financially in my life because of how long things take. It's much harder. It takes longer.
No escape from the stress.
There's no escape from it. That's right. So I do understand.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad how universal that story is, and then yet how like disparate everyone feels. So he has this sense of outcastness, sort of, but at the same time, he's really kind of growing again in popularity. People really like him. He's getting a lot of confidence because of his newfound ability to like create music and start bands and just be a cool dude. And also get other people into music. He got me into music. I learned the drums thanks to his inspiration, and it really helped me in other ways. But at the same time, like, you feel angry. You feel like, what's going on here? His brother's going to college. I'm going to college. He's 2 years younger than us. A lot of his friends are starting to go to college. His teachers, his guidance counselors, his band director, they're all saying, where are you going to school? Where are you going to school? And then instead of really sitting down and being like, I don't want to go to school, I think it's just not for, like, book learning's not for me. There's many other things he could have done. He forced himself to follow the narrative. He got into UMass Dartmouth. Went there for...
He must have been bright.
He is very bright. This
is the thing. It's like, he must have been very bright in all those years.
He did all the things.
And then it wasn't until he did the music.
Yeah.
And then things started coming alive for him.
But, so, you go to UMass Dartmouth, doesn't really... once you're out in the world, once you're at college in a university, you are kind of on your own. So it's like training wheels are on for the professional life. Mm-hmm. And if you're not going to fit in the way the professional life is sort of set up, nothing's there to prevent you from falling into like any sort of bad thing.
Right.
So that's kind of when things like drug addiction started to pick up for him. He got exposed to a lot of things. He's all alone. He already doesn't like school. I think, and this is on me, I forget this. I don't know if he lasted either one semester or a year and a semester. It was a really short amount of time.
So that's interesting. Okay. So people were all pushing him towards college, adding pressure, sort of saying like, oh no, of course you need to go to college.
Yeah.
Here he was, unremediated with dyslexia all those years.
Yeah. Yeah. And he could have, it's kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but instead of getting into something like sound engineering or, I mean, this was a kid who he could produce an album he could set this podcast up. So he was so good at stuff like that, stuff I can't even comprehend and think about. To get to that level of higher education, to get like a sound engineering or audio engineer degree, you got to take all your general education requirements. Yeah. You got to do all these other things that he just didn't want to do or need to do.
It's interesting. I have thought a lot about this as a person with dyslexia. In some ways, because I managed to do what I did, there's a potential for me to have impact. That's because I'm so different than the other people in my profession, in my lane. Yeah. Right? I'm very different because it is unusual.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think there are a lot of people out there in general who are educated with dyslexia, don't get me wrong. And I'm in a language-rich profession with a lot of people who are very like linear and very language-based. Yeah. Like just very like, yeah. And so I did exactly, in some ways I did what he did in this extreme way.
Yeah.
And so I really do feel what you're saying. And I've talked to educators on this very podcast who have said things like, no, everyone needs to go to college. Like, no, everyone should go to college.
Right.
And there's a part of me that feels sort of on board with that because I'm like, well, yeah, like the college should accommodate and you should be able to strive and you should be able to contribute this mind.
Yeah.
But then there's another part of me that wonders, honestly, John, about the quality of my life.
Right.
What would the quality of my life been? So it's not about what can I do for the society, what can I do for the world. And don't get me wrong, like I have incredible purpose in the work I do. Yeah. Also, a lot has been sacrificed.
Correct.
And so I get where you're coming from with this. And it's not to diminish or have low expectations for your friend. It's not that.
Yeah. No.
It's to say, there is a particular mind.
Yeah.
And that mind can do all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And like, why do we, like when the world was not designed for us,
why
do we have to follow this playbook?
Yes.
Like it wasn't designed for us. So why do we follow? So that's my anger, right? Like I'm like,
It's kind of, again, another whole discussion we could have, but you know, you're describing like, okay, I am going to make all these sacrifices because at the end there is possibly light at the tunnel, and there was. You're contributing so much to the world. You're finding purpose for a lot.
I'd like of folks. Raising Moxie to be wildly successful, so I can help the world in a more significant way. Yeah. Then I'll feel. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to feel like it was worth it if I can't get there.
Right.
Like that's. Right. I'm like, this has been a lot of sacrifice, and I'm happy for the people who have benefited from the work, and I've enjoyed meeting them. And I got to tell you, there has been so much sacrifice that if Raising Moxie doesn't do what I want it to do, I don't know if I will be okay with that outcome. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to stay here. Like this is
but it's amazing to have you're fighting for something. You're fighting for Raising Moxie, and you're fighting for people, which is amazing. There is a thing going on, and I think it's really increased in the generations after me. I can imagine he's saying, why would I sacrifice anything? There's nothing for me at the end of this tunnel. Right. Like, why would I get this degree at UMass
What's
Dartmouth?
The degree going to do for me?
I can't even get a job anyway. Like, people
no,
at
but
that time...
but what you're saying is a truth for people with dyslexia.
Yeah, right.
That is reality.
Right.
So, again, I keep using myself, and it's just the easiest thing to do.
No,
it's like the easiest thing to do.
You should do that.
So, like I don't fit most of the systems. There's a reason why I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah, right.
I walked away from research at Mass General because there was too much red tape and the funding was not there for health disparities work that I wanted to do. We also, people with dyslexia, we really are very like, we're empathic and we care about things, right? Yeah. So like I wanted to do health disparities work. I couldn't handle I put together a whole team. I did all this stuff, but it was killing me. It was drowning me.
Right. Because you were following the rules or whatever
I was trying to fit into a system that wasn't designed for me. So you're talking about this, the same thing.
Yeah.
You're saying you're imagining that he might have been kind of thinking to himself, why the hell should I go get this degree when at the end these systems are not designed for me.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be employable in this. Right. I'm not just going to have a job anyway at the end of that.
Right. Or anything like, the carrot on the end of the stick is like, oh, you'll have the American dream is like
society will
not even the same anymore, but it's respect you, get a house, you get money, all that stuff. And people at this point, people are like, but that's not even happening.
No.
To the people 3 years, 4 years ahead of me.
No.
What the heck? So in the same way that you became an entrepreneur, and I don't want to say that you're feeling like an outcast or whatever, but you feel like an individual.
I'm definitely...
You can say it, I can't.
I'm an outcast. I am definitely an outcast. I am definitely, I, in the last couple of years, have decided, I'm meant to be a truth teller. I am meant to be someone who is like Dr. Scanlon, our friend, would say that I'm meant to be a lightning rod, that I'm meant to be somebody who pushes things forward, and I've embraced that much more. And that has given me a lot more peace, quite frankly. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So we do end up being sort of outcasts.
Yeah. And what he did with his individuality, which he did believe in, was become what you think of as like a rock star. He started a band, a sick band, like a really amazing band.
That's awesome.
Multiple of them, not just one. He's in a lot of different projects. He would touch any musician who was anywhere near him was involved. He was involved with. He was really kind of building a reputation, learning all these different things, constantly taking in new skills so that he, again, produce albums, play on albums, just be like a sit-in musician if anyone needed that. He's doing all this stuff by himself.
Can I say something about that?
Yeah.
One of the things that I think happens to us is that because we've fallen so much, because we've failed so often, there's a way in which we, I think, do have the ability to walk into something with a little bit more courage, potentially.
Yeah.
Because we've already fallen. We know what that is.
Yeah.
So we're not as there's less fear of failure because we're not sort of walking this tightrope and we're not like trying to hold on to something because we never had it.
Yeah.
So we didn't have that kind of security.
Yeah.
So we don't. There's no point because we've had so much failure that we know like a lot of people, they're a little bit more. They could be a little more repressed. They could be a little bit more. I saw this a lot when I trained in the group psychotherapy world. Like a lot of academics, a lot of professionals. Like I could tell a lot of them were everything had been built so carefully that they were afraid to kind of like fall.
Yeah. Well,
right?
Well, but that's what they want us to be like,
Right. But
like.
for a lot of us, like we already like hit the ground 15 times.
Yeah.
Many more. And so so those risks that I'm hearing he took, the way he just dove into stuff, just dove in. It's like if there's no illusion. Yeah. There's no illusion. You know that you can fall, but you can fall anyway.
Yeah, so I never even really put that together, but you saying that he had like, you could describe him as brazen, and not even in just like the positive things he would do, and also like the more impulsive things he'd do.
Yeah.
Like he just had so much confidence and also hard-headedness, and you were like, how is he so brave to be doing this? And I think you're right. It's because he's already been at way lower points than this. Like, who cares about these consequences? Who cares what this person thinks? I've already am constantly thinking about what other people think, and I've been through that.
Yeah. So it's like, like you and you have experience with falling and getting up and falling and getting up.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot. There's a lot to that. I harness that with a lot of the patients I've worked with in the past that are dyslexic, young people, like the kids who are dyslexic, and they've been through stuff. We're able to draw upon their courage and help them learn how to move forward to tackle mental health issues very efficiently with a lot of them.
Well, it's a great tool, and I think if he had more like a person or someone who knew about this to harness that power, it may have played out differently. Because a big part of that was I also don't really care about my health or my body, so like he started to find, when you're in the world of music, a lot of those people are in the world of music because of these reasons. They need, like, it's a different type of language. It's a way to fit in. These people are already dealing with so much like internal stress and external stress. Drugs are a big part of it. So, he just, found more harder drugs, I think, in college at UMass Dartmouth. And then, his friend group, specifically some relationships he had, I think centered around things like heroin and Percocet and OxyContin were like a big problem.
A lot of people think about positive and negative reinforcement. So in other words, I'm going for something that feels good, or I'm trying to get away from something that doesn't feel good,
right.
or both, right? And when we're thinking about this story and we're thinking about everything that he was going through, it's very understandable that he would be looking for both an escape as well as like escape from the pain, as well as a movement towards something that created some sort of bliss or joy, one, the other, or both. I think what happens to some people is like once they cross over into, he wasn't your other friend. Your other friend gained the weight. That's right. Your other friend gained all that weight and then found his way back, but that was weight gain, and that was also drugs.
It was a lot,
but it was psychiatric drugs, a lot of drugs, really hard to recover from that. These were pretty potent, these illicit drugs, and I feel like that's like, it's like once someone crosses over, like you I think people can come back from a lot of things. This becomes, what are the odds? I don't even know what the odds are right now, honestly. I feel like I need to call I'll ask my colleague.
The landscape of
it's
that
not
is
great.
Awful. everything's stronger now and there's fentanyl and everything. So, and I don't much know about that world, but yeah, it's very dangerous. And I think I kind of visualize these things as you're crossing over as like a train. So it seemed to me, even at the time, like kind of like hopped on a train and didn't realize. So 2013, I graduated college myself. He's been he dropped out of Dartmouth before. I got my degree in English, so I did not have a job lined up, which was fine. I decided to work in a kitchen of a new restaurant in town. I was still looking to move back with my parents, and I said, "Do you want to like try to get a job together?" So we both interviewed for this job. We both got it. I ended up being like the kitchen manager for him, and it was like not a very good company. I'll say, like the owners were, I don't want to say neglectful, but they really were just thinking about like their own, like let's get this pizza place going so we can make some money type of thing. You know, kitchens in general are tough environments to work. That job was not for me. I was being drastically underpaid. I kind of, I was like, I know my worth. I have to get the heck out of here. I left that job. He was still there. That's when he starts to meet more, like the community of people who are using drugs becomes tighter and tighter.
I see.
And then I remember one day I was like folding laundry, I think. And I knew that he was sort of going through some times, but I didn't really know the extent of it. He called me out of like one afternoon and just started, John, I have to confess something to you. I've been doing heroin, and he's in tears. I've been doing heroin, but I'm stopping, and I just want you to know that I'm quitting this, and I want to live. And it was just very dramatic because this was a person who was so at that point like kind of mitigated everything through sarcasm and humor and music and stuff like that. To be this authentically sincere in the middle of the day, really, I didn't know how to take it. I was like, oh my God, I'm glad you're okay. He's like, yeah, I'm just telling you because like I'm gonna get clean and I'm gonna be okay and all this. And so we're like, holy, this is really this is really intense. What can I do for you? From that period on, we started playing music together. We both kind of had some free time. We wanted to dedicate it some time to each other because it seems like out of all of this, school, college, work, family life, everything, we still kind of had each other and we had an understanding of what we had been through and therefore like a good relationship. So we started playing music together. It was fun. We made some recordings. We played a couple times. And things were great. He was staying clean, which was really important. Couple years later, kind of go by, he's continually taking off. He's with another more serious group band who started to tour. My conviction is that had he been alive today, he'd be we would know who he is. Like he'd be a famous musician, at least in this region. But one day in 2017, I get a phone call. He overdosed last night in his bathroom. What ended up happening was he hadn't been using. He had it was his day after his birthday. I don't know what happened. I think he had a bad experience on his birthday. A lot of pain came out of that. He went to a dealer, thought he was buying cocaine. 8:30 p.m. in his parents' house with his brother home. Shot up the cocaine. It was not cocaine. It was lace. I think it had fentanyl in it. Died right there. That was, his brother found him. Awful situation. We were all completely in shock because we thought that he had made so much progress. With the way the world is now and the way the drugs are these days, like no matter how much progress you make, a tiny little slip up can kill you. Yeah. Like this was not intentional. This was a mistake. It's obviously a tragedy. And yeah, I think a lot of that could have been avoided had he been able to have some more support in using how to mitigate those feelings.
Well, that sort of that confidence and integration into society. He did find a role in society, but he was already, he wasn't diagnosed until he was older.
Yeah.
And, I remember David Eddy talks, he's in substance use work, and he's at Mass General, and he talks at the class that I co-instructed at MIT. And I remember him talking about, that for a lot of people, they go into treatment, but then they've got to go, they do tend to relapse, and then go back, and then relapse, and then go back. And the treatment can be effective if they go back and back and back.
Yeah.
Sometimes, then they can get better numbers. I can't remember exactly what the numbers were, but I remember that being a part of the theme.
Yeah. Relapsing is part of
recovery.
Because, life is not black and white.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's just so much danger out there.
Yeah,
right?
growth forward. And these substances are so incredibly addictive.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about how connected to the world he felt like in his moments of pain. Yeah. I'm thinking about an interview that was done on Literacy Now Together. And in this most recent episode, it was the one after mine, there was a gentleman talking about how there is sort of a masking that goes on. He didn't call it masking, but like there's a constant needing to, read the room mm-hmm. and needing to figure out how to navigate. Yep. And I would say even in our business network, how do you do commercials?
Yeah.
That's particularly hard for me, actually.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and to do them in a succinct way, to do them right, to hold on to the it's very language based.
Yeah. We do great, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It's like, and it's been, I've been in there for a little while, and, but there is, someone also recently reached out to me and said, being dyslexic, unfortunately, we are sort of destined to be alone.
Yeah, right.
There is a sense of aloneness that we experience. And I don't think it's a psychological ailment. I'm not we're all depressed. I think it's reality.
It's a reality, yeah.
It's a reality. We're constantly acclimating to a society not designed for us.
Right.
And, yes, he found music. Yes, he was doing these things, but...
Yeah, but you go through almost halfway through your adolescence feeling like that. And then into adulthood.
In society, people mostly... It's interesting, right? People mostly want to focus on those last couple of years. It's, and sort of, this caused it and this caused it. And I love that you have the, wisdom and insight to see how his early years shaped essentially his resilience and his sense of connectedness and the ongoing challenges with dyslexia in terms of having that neurodivergence, that difference in the way we process.
Yeah.
How that really does sort of shape our worldview, not in a way that anyone needs to fix.
Right.
They could fix the world.
Right.
But they don't need to fix the worldview because our worldview is accurate.
I think that's the point of being an individual. It's you have this worldview, you need to live that worldview, and you're actually giving back to the world as you live it. It's not up to you to change that. I wanted to say this earlier. It's a cliche, but everything in school is get in this box, fit in this box, you round peg, get in this square hole, or whatever the expression is.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just don't think that is a really good use of human life. We shouldn't be forcing ourselves into little square pegs. We should be being an incredible musician, or any type of person, or it's the person who's able to give what they want to give.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there is stress-related growth, right? There are ways in which some people can find a way to master something. Usually it comes about from these combination of factors. Yeah. I don't think, it's interesting. People sort of, this just sort of happened. It's it didn't just happen.
No, right. Well, you said it perfectly, and you're absolutely right, I think. It's easy to romanticize drug use, but essentially what it comes down to, I think, is I'm moving away from this bad place, and I'm moving towards this good place. And the worse the bad place is, and the better the good place feels,
right, or this painful place. I'm moving away from this painful place that often isn't, right? Yeah. It is often. So, and this is the thing. It's there has been this bad place.
Being alone.
Yeah.
All these things that
neglect,
make him feel probably worthless. That's the bad,
we're going to call it the bad place. Why not?
These painful, shadowy feelings, inside all of us, you have this really easy solution. Hard drugs. And it's poison. But. Right,
poison. I mean, it's interesting because both of the friends that we ended up talking about today, there are those pieces. There's substances being put in their bodies, and coming out of that is really hard.
Yeah.
The best scenario is to go back.
Yeah.
And to get his literacy needs met before 3rd grade.
Yeah, correct, right.
So that he could function optimally in society. And you know what? Even with the dyslexia, if you get enough early on, he would have functioned better in school actually.
Yeah.
So it's not to say because he was dyslexic, he therefore couldn't ever go to college. What we have there is a story where he didn't get, and it's good I'm saying this now, it's important, where he didn't get, pre-K to third grade.
Yeah. Right.
What he needed, because once you don't get it in third grade, you're remediated from ever after that.
Yep.
And not only did he not get it just after third grade, he didn't get it till he was like 15, 16.
Yeah, he was a teenager.
And even then, what did they do with him? Do we even know? Like, what did
he
from
never,
an academic point of view?
He was. I don't know if there were specifics. I don't think that there were. He was just influenced to go to college, which is just like crazy.
Wait, so like nobody, like to our knowledge anyway?
No, to my knowledge, and I'm pretty sure
we don't think he was in like getting like an IEP or a special education program.
I don't believe he had an IEP. I mean, he was definitely in like some specialized classes that had some like special attention. But at the end of the day, that doesn't do
maybe he got
really
like a 504 or something. They might not even given him like remediation. They didn't necessarily like give. And also, it's too late. It's too late. And then 1 year you have, if there is support, it's happening. But in this other year, you think, okay, well, where are you going to school? It's going to cost a lot of money. Blah, 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 right.
Blah, blah. Because time is going quickly. And
that's the thing. And that's the thing. Anyone who knows dyslexia knows time is our enemy.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Like, I know a lot of people might get upset with me saying with you and I saying it's too late. Because people are like, well, you can always like remediate dyslexia. You can work with adults. You can do this. You can do that. But let's get real. Like, here's the problem. I'm calling it as a dyslexic person. So I'm going to vibe with this and say this. Like, I actually think that when people say that, they don't fully appreciate how much time we have already lost.
Yes.
Like, there was actually somebody actually offered to pay for me in like after UCLA before grad school to get like this little remediation, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm already working around as best I can.
Yes.
I don't have time.
Yeah. It's such
I don't have time. Like. Yeah.
There's no understanding of what human life actually is, because things are never too late. You can always You can always change the outcome,
right.
But you can't always change the past.
Yeah, in theory.
But at the end, like life, like you only grow up. Your body's only developing for X amount of years, and then you're only able to position yourself and build skills to work for X amount of years.
That's right. And your career can take off. Your business takes off. It's time limited.
If we're pretending that doesn't exist, you're discounting what reality is.
Resources.
It's crazy.
Like, we don't have endless resources.
Yeah.
Most people with profiles like mine are not masochistic enough to get themselves to where I got
myself. They want comfort.
They want to have a quality of life today.
To live.
Right? To live.
Be okay.
To have a life to live.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of the things people they don't understand. I love that you understand it. I'm sorry that we are in a society where you had to be a witness to this degree of societal neglect. And really it's neglect. There wasn't even a lot of exploitation in this case.
Right.
Usually I talk about exploitation.
Right.
It doesn't even sound like he got sort of over-analyzed, over-supported in ways that weren't helpful. In my model, it's like that doesn't even apply here.
Yeah, right.
He was just flat out neglected.
Yeah, right.
And left to his own devices. Tried. He tried.
Did really good.
He tried
very
so
talented
hard.
and very bright.
He did do good.
Yeah.
I mean, he did do good. There's a lot of good that he did. And, and there's the other part of me that's like, oh gosh, I don't believe in glamorizing people whose lives have gone in this direction either. Yeah. But at the same time, that's not like a good, prevention plan. But, mental health Mirage is not, we're not here to I'm not trying to blast this out to all the high schools to tell kids, don't go down this path.
Right.
I'm trying to tell the adults in society to wake up and meet the needs of kids. Yeah, that's what I want to do. So from that point of view, we're still...
I absolutely love that. Yeah. I want to say something that kind of struck me as funny. It's odd. We live in a society that in one hand holds... You can always, there's enough time for everything. You can always remediate. And also, YOLO, you only live once. Like, how are these two things... There's so many opposite, forces at B. Any person who's trying to figure things out, it's like, what the heck are you asking of me?
Yes.
You're saying you can fix me whenever, but then you're saying you have to seize the moment because every day could be your last.
Yeah.
It's like, it just makes no
sense.
Too much noise going on. And it's very difficult for a kid to figure out who they are and through all that, no matter who they are.
I would have loved for him to have gotten his literacy needs met. And I also would have liked this world to embrace him as he is, as he was. And for it to not keep doing this round peg in a square. Is it a square peg in a round hole? I think that's
Either way, they're not
square peg in a round hole.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I wish that our society could do better with that. And, you know, I think also what we said about not just sort of focusing on the outcome and the symptoms, but getting to the root cause. And you really helped with that today.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate
it. Was a lot of fun. A little cathartic, so it was nice.
Good.
Appreciate it.
Good. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Dr. Karin. This is great.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll do it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
You too.
We did good.
Nice job. That was fun.
I think we did really good. That was
fun,
amazing.